August 15th. What do we actually know about the negotiating position of the UK when they restart?
Well, we have some more clarity about where the cabinet stands and a little bit more of a united front, at least, because they've lost a lot of time squabbling among themselves as to what kind of Brexit, what kind of roadmap that we were going to get. And now at least there seems to be some kind of consensus that they will try and get a transition period so that you don't have the so-called cliff edge. You know, you don't have Brexit and then businesses don't know what to do with themselves.
Right, but this is for trade. What happens to services? So they're not in the customs union.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, we don't know is the answer. Even what we saw in the customs union, that's a proposal. There's no guarantee that the EU is going to turn around and say, yeah, that's great. You know, of course you can have all of this, because there's an element of having your cake and eat it. What the UK is seeking is effectively as close as possible to the deal we have now, but with none of the obligations.
Okay, that would definitely be having the cake and eating it as well. What does it mean that Boris Johnson hasn't really weighed in on this? Is he on board with the rest of the cabinet, or is he not?
So what we know about Boris Johnson's position on Brexit generally is that he aligned himself with a more so-called hard Brexit. So we haven't heard what he thinks about a transition period, but he made a few sort of, bold remarks about not wanting to pay a divorce bill, and also Britain will be just fine, out of the EU. He's biding his time because his popularity within the party has plummeted. He was out on manoeuvres after the election. People were seeing him as trying to get in as the next, leader. And I think that didn't sit very well with voters. So I think he's waiting to see how it all plays out in the cabinet when they get back from holiday, but also with Europe, so he can then declare himself.
Svenja, what's a surprise in the next 6 weeks?
What's a surprise? Well, I think what will the EU say to our bold demands? Because we've heard people like the chief Brexit negotiators say, this is all great, guys, but actually progress has been really slow. We've still got these big issues to sort out, like the divorce bill, and until we do,
right,
we can't even talk trade. I mean, he's already suggested that talks about trade relationships will be delayed beyond October because the UK just hasn't really done its homework.